Ashley, girl, you are in danger. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome back to the next episode of the Deep Dive with Toya Creates. Today is Monday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And today we are going to get into Beyond the Gates. But of course, first, if you love Beyond the Gates as much as I do, please like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, do all the things so I can keep bringing this content to you. And I would love to hear your opinions on these crazy storylines. So speaking of that, let's just get into it with my electronic notes in the background because you know Beyond the Gates has all the things. Also, quick note, we are being preempted again this week, y'all. So, after today, we will not see Beyond the Gates until Thursday. So, maybe that was why it was so chock full of stuff, but I digress. So, we opened up with Ted and Nicole still in a warm embrace. And Martin standing in the doorway like, what is going on here? And that's exactly what he asks. Because last he checked, his parents were divorced. Now, today is still what would have been Ted and Nicole's anniversary, so everyone's worried about Ted and Nicole, while Ted and Nicole are just real chummy, real friendly. You know, they just say that they were having a platonic moment and they decided not to ignore it or sweep their would-be anniversary under the rug. And Martin's like, okay. So then Nicole leaves. Well, before Nicole leaves, Martin explains that he and Kat were coming up with, or they had devised a strategy to divide and conquer the parents on this day just to make sure that everyone was having a good, just dealing with it okay. Nicole was like, it's very nice. Like, we're very fortunate to have children who care so much about us. But as parents, we are supposed to be taking care of y'all, not the other way around. But, she thanks him and then she heads out. And Ted is super happy that Martin made time to visit with him today because this time last year, he was like, you didn't even want to be around me. So Ted is just very happy with that. And he also said that he just still hasn't forgiven himself for tearing his family apart. And Martin told him not to dwell on that and that they are all basically adjusting to the new norm. So this is another reason why Martin was offered up to hang out with Ted, because Martin understands after going through his own little situation with Smitty, so he is a lot less judgmental than little Miss Kitty Cat. And so that is good. Now, father and son were finally able to talk about Martin's political ambitions as well, because as we saw last week, Nicole is very nervous about Martin wanting to pursue a senatorial race in about 2 years due to the things that come along with campaigns and people digging into your past. They are terrified that this huge secret is going to come out about Martin killing someone in self-defense. But to my surprise, Ted was like echoing Vernon a little bit to me. He seems to be supportive of it. He just basically said that if this is what Martin wants, like, it's up to Martin what he wants to do and no one else can figure that out for him. And the only bit of advice that he gave him was just to, make sure that you are including Smitty in all of this, because Ted did not like hearing that Martin was keeping things from Smitty again, because, at least Ted has apparently learned that lesson, and he doesn't want Martin to end up in the same situation as him. So I like that. Oh, and he also wants to make sure that Martin is doing what is best for Smitty and their family. So I really like that. Ted talked to Martin a little bit about the Shanice Leslie run in, because on Friday we saw Ted feeling guilty. He feels responsible for the woman that Dana Leslie has become. When he said that to Martin, Martin was like, now wait a minute. You feel responsible for a grown woman's actions? Yeah, thank you, Martin. Because Ted needs a reality check. So he's just like, yeah, that is, no. And Martin said he understood fully why Shanice was upset, and I understood it too. But like I said, they had a nice father-son moment, which we rarely see on this soap. So hopefully, they will have more interactions, because I want to see this father-son dynamic. So we also saw, Lord, we saw Eva and Leslie. Now, Eva has already visited her father just to check up on him on this fateful day. She is at the club and she's texting Leslie to see if she wants to go to lunch at Orphe Jeans. So she she hits send and she hears that notification, and it's coming from the seat right next to her. It is Leslie with her like Foxy Brown circa 1996 home tonight big old hat. Wait, this one wasn't floppy like that one back in the 90s, which I also had, by the way. But she looked good. Leslie had on this big old hat, and she was like, you're looking for me? I'm right here. So Eva wants to convince her crazy mother to leave the club and go have lunch at Orphe G's, because she's basically like, we're at the scene of the crime, because 1 year ago today is when Leslie destroyed Ted and Nicole's marriage. So Eva's like, please, I don't want no drama. Can we please go somewhere else? And Leslie's like, you are just being melodramatic. And Eva then questions, like, do you have no shame? And Leslie was like, the only thing I regret is not blowing this marriage up earlier. Eva is heated per usual. Where's Isaiah to help run interference? But then Leslie sits her down and she tries to toast to everything that happened, and Eva's like, I am not doing that, and she gets up to leave. But then Leslie opens up. She was just like, I wasn't strong enough when I was pregnant with you to stand up to Bill, and I allowed him to run me out of town. And Leslie felt like because of that, she robbed Eva of the life that she should have had. So for Leslie, today is a celebration of that. And it's a celebration of Eva getting everything that she should have had and the life that she should have had. So Eva is willing to accept that, and she knows her mother loves her dearly, and she loves her mom too. So they hug, and that's it for that part, because we're going to get back to them later. So then we see Anita and Naomi. Naomi has stopped by to visit, and Anita's telling her that she's happy how none of her granddaughters have this BRCA gene, because, treatments have been going well for Anita. She's almost done with chemo. The tumor has shrunk great. So, Naomi's still hiding the fact that she actually does have the BRCA gene variant, and she remains silent. So then Naomi kind of turns it around on Anita, because Anita is making these kind of cryptic comments. And so Naomi was like, well, what's going on? Because Anita said she's afraid of secrets derailing anything in the future, because Naomi had talked about what Anita's going to do with the articulates once everything is done. And Anita was like, I hope I am able to keep all of these plans, and I'm concerned about secrets coming out. And so Naomi was like, well, what are you talking about? So then Anita reveals how Martin plans on running for the Senate in 2 years, and Naomi automatically picked up on the issue. She was just like, oh, this could unearth things. And then Anita was telling her how Vernon went to confront Joey, and how Anita is just concerned about everything. So then Naomi starts zoning out, similarly to how Anita was, and Anita was like, so do you have something you need to talk about? And I felt like Naomi was about to talk about at least the BRCA gene, but then she gets a text from Jacob. It's just a little hard, but she's able to use that to deflect and get up out of that estate, which is what she did. So then that's it for Anita and Naomi. We will come back to them as well. So then we see Bill and Vernon. Vernon is stopping by Bill's office, and he said that they need to have a serious discussion about Martin. And Vernon says that Bill should have come to him about Martin's political ambitions instead of confronting Martin directly. So Bill is worried about this senatorial race because he is like, they will dig and they will find out about that night. Now Vernon is like, he's not really on the fence. He's supporting Martin in this because he believes Martin was born to serve, and he's like, he actually gives a damn about his constituents, so he wants to support that. But Bill is like, respectfully, I think you are wrong, Vernon. Bill does not want Martin to run at all, but Vernon thinks the exposure means mutual risk for everyone involved. And so Bill questions Vernon, asking if he thinks Joey, won't come sniffing around again. And that's when Vernon also reveals that Joey has already started sniffing, how he approached Martin about a security detail. And Bill was like, Bill is not here for any of it. Bill tells Vernon that he is giving Martin a false sense of security because Martin knows that he always has men like Vernon or Bill to come and bail him out of stuff. And Bill was like, you need to let Martin be a man because there's going to come a day where me and you, Vernon, will not be here to bail him out. He also said that Martin is reckless and he is not ready for basically what's going to come with this senatorial race. And Vernon said, he hears him, but he's like, as long as he has breath and influence, he will protect his grandson by any means necessary. And he just wants to make sure Bill has his back when Joey comes to collect, because he gonna come to collect. He also told Bill how Vernon basically offered himself up to Joey. He was like, leave my grandson alone, and anything you need, you come to me. So let's see where this goes, because Bill is not here for it at all. He does not want his little cushy life blown up. And, he is team Dupree, baby, all the way. So he don't want his real family to have any issues either. We gonna come back to Bill too, because Bill was on one today. So then we also see Kat and Tomas. Kat recognized Leah Whitmore on Tomas's list of Lynette's embezzlement victims. I forgot to say this on Friday because there was so much going on. But yes, Kat was like, oh my God, I know her. And so she was like, oh, this is the chief of staff at Garland. She and I already have an established relationship. How about I go over to Garland and I see what I can find out? Now, Tomas is hesitant a little bit. He tries to talk her out of it. But Kat is like, this makes more sense because I actually already know her and she might open up to me more as opposed to some stranger. And Tomas is like, okay, that's fine, but you can't go into this all cat-like. And we know exactly what he means with cat. But I have faith in her in this. So then we go over to the hospital. We see Kat arriving. Before she arrives, Leah and Shanice are at the desk. And Leah's looking for Ashley because she's on Ashley's ass. Because Ashley is with Greyson and Leah does not want that. So Leah is saying that she's following up on a conversation about distractions, aka Greyson. So Shanice is gossiping. She opening her mouth a little too much in my opinion. So she was like telling Leah about how Greyson and Ashley had this night, and she thinks there's something more than just like a hangover in regards to Greyson's current state. And Leah was like, I was afraid of that, and that's exactly what I don't want to hear. Oh my God, Leah is a mess. So then at that point, Kat is getting off of the elevator, and she's like, hey, like trying to be chummy, making some small talk with Leah, reminiscing about some other events they went to last year. And that was cool. Now, this is where Leah would have got cussed out from me. So then Leah was like, well, actually, what are you here for? I mean, it was like that. And Leah was like, are you here to see your mother, your father, or your father's latest girlfriend? This was the time, Cat, to have a cat-like reaction. But okay, I get it. She had to keep it cute for this investigation. But I know she was like, I know this did not. But okay. Kat was like, actually, I'm here to talk to you. And so they walk away from the desk, and Leah's like, what's up, basically? Is this about a donation or what? Like, Leah is such a bitch. But Kat was like, oh, it's really about Lynette Wise, the woman who cleaned out your investment account. And Leah was like, how do you know that name? And Kat does a good job covering. She's just like, oh, Kat, Lynette did this to another person that I know. And I just want to know what you, Leah, know about Lynette. Now, Leah's like, I don't know anything. She cleared my investment account out. I knew there was a trial happening, but then the charges were dropped and I'm not getting my money. So that's it. And Kat was like, well, she's disappeared. And, I'm sure some of her previous clients, Leah, have reason to want her to disappear or do harm. But Leah's like, whatever. She said, she was just like questioning if maybe people would take matters into their own hands. Leah's like, I don't know nothing about that. And she walks away like mid-sentence. Whatever. And Kat's just stuck there. So then also we see Nicole coming out from the back, and Nicole and Shanice start talking, and Shanice wants to talk about Leslie. And so at this point, Kat also walks up to the desk, and they're making small talk. Nothing bad is going on. And she's like, what are you ladies talking about? And Shanice says, oh, we're just talking about that thing that is Leslie. And Kat was like, on today? And Shanice was so mortified. She completely forgot that today would have been Ted and Nicole's anniversary. And she in here talking about the woman who broke Nicole and Ted up. So, I mean, Nicole has literally no reaction to it at all. She's just like, whatever, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. We are going to be positive today. And then she and Kat basically head off to lunch. And you can see Shanice just like, oh my God, I cannot believe I did that. As Kat and Nicole are on their way over to the club because Nicole has a craving for the same entree that she should have had at her anniversary party last year. So we also saw Greyson and Ashley at her apartment. Ashley wants to know who stabbed Greyson. He's been there for days at this point. And Ashley's just like, what is going on? But Greyson still will not tell her, and he says it's because he's trying to protect her. So then she has to run out to her car to get some more bandages because he done knocked his off in the bathroom. I don't know what he was doing. So when she walks out, Jacob is calling Greyson, and Grayson's just like, hey, what's up? Or Jacob's like, how are you doing? Da, 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 da. And he basically says, we need to meet up and talk about Ren. Okay, so Greyson says like he needs to go to his house. He had already said that he would get out of Ashley's way because, she keeps asking about what happened. He can't tell her, and he just doesn't want anything to happen to her. Ashley wants Greyson to stay a few more nights, but he's like, no, I need to go home and get some clothes, and he promises to see her again soon, and then he heads out. So, next we see at the club, Kat and Nicole walk in, and Kat has PTSD from what happened last year. She ain't even seen nobody yet. As soon as she crossed the threshold of the club, she was like, ugh. And Nicole is like, it's fine, whatever. So they're walking in, and then Eva and Leslie come out the little side or the little hallway, and Kat is like, oh my God, like, you've got to be kidding me. So, of course, Nicole and Leslie have to have a nice, nasty reunion. So, Leslie just cannot help herself. She's just like, oh, today is Liberation Day. And that's what she's celebrating since they, Leslie and Eva, were kept out of their place in the society. Now, pause. Why does Leslie think Eva has any right or claim to the Duprees? If anything, she would have been a part of the Richardson family. And we don't even, Ted and Andre, because we have not seen anyone else from the family. I have never understood why Leslie thought that Eva would have any connection with the Duprees. I don't care if Kat is her half-sister or not. That makes zero sense. But whatever. Leslie maintains that this is Liberation Day. It's liberation for her. And it's liberation for Nicole because she liberated Nicole from a marriage that was full of lies. And oh, by the way, Nicole should be thanking Leslie. I'm like, girl, Leslie, I like you, but you be doing too much. And you must want Nicole to choke you out again. So Nicole was like, oh, really? It's Liberation Day. Well, it's customary to send thank yous via the mail, but I couldn't send yours because your house has been halted. And Leslie was just, whoop. And Kat said, oh, I guess it's time for us to go off because you just ate and left no crumbs. And then they turn around and go, I guess, towards the dining room, while Leslie and Eva just sit there tight-faced. So Leslie has finally agreed to go to Orphages with Eva. And Eva's like, oh, look at my little mom maturing. I'm so proud of you. And she heads out, I guess, to the car. Before this, Leslie had said to Nicole and Kat, get whatever you want. You could put it on my account. And then on her way out, she saw a waiter and she pulled him to the side and she was like, if Nicole tries to put anything on my account, decline it. Whatever, girl. You ain't hurt nobody but yourself. So then we see Anita and Vernon at the estate, and Vernon's just catching Anita up on his conversation with Bill and his conversation with Joey, and she's just giving him a massage, just trying to help him relax. And she tells Vernon that he's done his best, and she hopes it doesn't come at a large price, because that's all they can hope. We see Ashley. Oh, let's go back. Bill. So Vernon has left Bill's office, and Tom shows up to give him an update on the PI, Keegan, and the latest with the Lynette thing. So Tomas is like, oh, Kat offered to go and talk to Leah because she recognized her name and she has a relationship with her. I thought Bill was going to flip that desk on Tomas. Tomas takes too much abuse at this job. He should have taken the other job. Ain't nobody going to be fitting to holler at me like that. Bill was like, I don't give a dick. Like, who? My niece Kat is not on my payroll. Why the hell did you let her go there? And she does not need to be meddling in this. There are too many people involved and it's too dangerous. He slammed the desk and this and that. I would have had to tender my resignation right then and there. This is why I can't work normal jobs anymore, I guess. Because I can't be spoken to like that. But anywho, Bill was livid at Tomas. I'm like, this man can't catch a break. He always got to be jumping through hoops for Bill, but whatever. So Bill was not pleased to hear that Kat, the PI, is on the case. She's the real PI. Then we see Ashley and Naomi, because Ashley is just, oh my God, in shambles, and it makes total sense this time. So she calls up Naomi and she tells her, like, first of all, before I start, girl, you cannot say this to anybody. So then Ashley starts telling Naomi about everything that happened. She was like, girl, Greyson was stabbed. And Naomi's like, what? So then she's like, yeah, he got stabbed. I've been trying to help him. And then she starts thinking about Max. Max was the other guy who was Jacob's, doing Jacob's role first before Jacob came in. So Max had gotten stabbed by Ren as well in the hospital, and they were threatening to come and finish the job. But Jacob gave Grayson the heads up, and Grayson went into Max's room and gave him the heads up too, and they got him out of there. So, Naomi is just being brought up to speed with everything. Her head is spinning at this point. Ashley wants answers, and, Naomi's like, well, what is your plan? Because, Ashley's just like, I bet Grayson and Max knew each other, because Grayson was really freaked out about that, and she noticed that she's recalling how weird it was. And then Naomi was like, okay, so what is your plan? And Ashley was like, you know what? We can actually ask Smitty. And Naomi was like, Smitty? Why him? And that's where Ashley, to all the HIPAA violations are going out the window today. Ashley was like, well, Smitty was Max's emergency contact, and so if anybody would know anything, it should be Smitty. So they're going to ask them. So basically, it seemed like to me, Naomi is going to join Ashley in this digging that Ashley plans on doing at Garland Memorial. So I'm like, girl, you are definitely putting yourself in harm's way. But I understand she needs to know, because Grayson, this is out of control, okay? And she needs to know what's going on. So then, finally, the end. Grayson and Jacob are meeting up in their usual place in the alley. And Jacob lets Grayson know that Ren has gone radio silent, and they need to figure out what's going on there. And Jacob is pressing once again. He wants to know who is Grayson's contact at this hospital, so they can get to the bottom of this, because Jacob truly believes this is the key to solving the case. So Grayson is explaining how he basically got caught up in all of this. He says he was after the money because the money that he made was to help his mom, who has Parkinson's, but he has realized that he cannot help his mother if he is dead. Yes, that is true. So Grayson is about to tell Jacob who his contact is at that hospital when he gets a text from someone. And in the text, it is a picture, like almost real-time picture of Ashley sitting at atrium. So someone is spying on her and keeping tabs on her. So Grayson is terrified when he sees this, and he clams up quick. He was like, I gotta go. And Jake was like, man, I was almost there. Like, it was right on the tip of Grayson's tongue. So Jacob's like, ugh. So, who do y'all think is watching Ashley? Do you think it could possibly be Lynette? Hear me out. I don't think Lynette is dead. And I find it interesting that Leah happened to be one of Lynette's victims of embezzlement. But I have questions, since Leah is involved in this plasma thing. And I'm thinking maybe Lynette was too. I know that was crazy, but whatever. Maybe Ren is the one tracking Ashley, since he's gone radio silent. But yeah, do you think this plasma blood ring is going to be finished before the end of this month? Who do you think is watching Ashley? Do you think Ashley and Grayson are going to stay together? What do you think is going to come of this Joey, Bill, Ted, Martin, all the people thing? Like, do you think Martin's secret is going to be exposed anytime soon? Because what would be the reason? He has 2 years until this senatorial thing. So, yeah. And what do you think is going to happen with Ted and Shanice? I mean, I was rooting for them. But it's clear that Ted still has feelings for Nicole, in my opinion. Even though he said today he realizes, what he had with Nicole is over, but I don't trust him. Do you think Ted and Shanice had a chance in hell? And what else? I mean, how long do we think is going to be before Leslie gets what is owed to her as well. Just there's so much going on, you guys. So like I said earlier, we will not see Beyond the Gates on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, unfortunately. So I will see you guys again on Thursday. I'm sure it's going to be another jam-packed episode, and I am ready. See you guys then.